Alrighty, guys, it is 3:30. It is Friday, September 12th, and it's time to wrap it up for today. And we had a market which is definitely trying to take it higher, getting into a little bit of liquidation and selling here going into the afternoon. But they were up here flirting with the highs in an attempt to take it higher, about 6,600. And now we finally look like we're getting some weakness. So let's see how weak it's going to get. But all day today, we've been holding the range. We've been flat out range bound, pretty sloppy action and not going anywhere. So we've been staying range bound, still buys to the upside. Right now, though, it looks to me like there's some selling going on for sure. There's a little bit of action back and forth, and now they're like running it lower. If they can hold that 65.75 into the close, we're going to stay on the long side of this going into to Monday's trading. Otherwise, if they take out that 65.75, so I would just go back range bound. So looking to buy weakness against the 85s and the 75 in the overnight, but it depends on where it closes. I mean, that this one, this clip looks like they're trying to really knock it down. So but watch that level, 65.75. If they close below that, we are range bound. Above that, we're going to lean on the long side. No trades. We're rolling. By the way, we are rolling to the December contract on Monday. So when it's fired up again on Monday, you'll see these two expirations show up. And just right click on the U25, roll it to the roll it to the current front month, and it'll be on the Z25. All right. So that is what we're looking at going into the weekend. Now on the no trades on me on the ES. I did a few trades on the Nasdaq, and that was went back and forth a little bit. You see the Nasdaq also to the upside. I had a little bit of issues a couple of times. I said that the first trade I took was actually that short here early on when they're trying to take it higher. I got absolutely creamed on that trade. That was a weird one, a high tick. And I had a couple of more trades, and I got the high tick one more time here on the thing. But I managed one more trade here and scratched back most of it. So I'm down 850 right now on 7 trades, and I kind of stopped there. I figured like this is just not going to be a you don't want to overtrade it on a Friday when the volume starts coming off. Remember, as the volume is rolling into the December contract, the volume is going to get less and less here in the September contract. So late in the afternoon, I decided I'm not going to try to trade it. So there we are. So I'm down 850 on that on the 7 contracts. That's it for me today. Bond market, yes, range bound. They took it a bit lower. Has been sideways. It's kind of slowly drifting back up again. So they're holding that 17 level. And at this point, we are back up here to the attractor. And I would just say starting off range bound on the bond market going into the overnight. But both the ES and Nasdaq, we're starting on the long side of this. If the Nasdaq closed below the session, I would say below the 965s, 960.65 here, that would start off range bound. Otherwise, I would start off on the long side. I'll be looking to buy against that level, the 24,070s against the 40s, against the 24,000s for rotations back up. So starting off on the long side, let's see if they can how far they want to run this before and what's going to happen here in the last few minutes before the roll here. All right, then finally oil and gold. So yes, then those trades on the Nasdaq for me today. It's not a great day, but it's when you get into that afternoon, you have to realize when you start over trading it, just stop trading it, and you manage to get a little bit back. I'm not going to try to go for a positive number at this point. It's just one of these things. Late on the Friday, you start trading up a storm. It's just going to be like that's a recipe for disaster. Anyway, on oil and gold, gold is just range bound going into the afternoon, not much going on there. So starting off range bound on gold, if anything, a bias to the upside since we have had a pretty good run to the run higher on gold. So I would probably favor it alongside if anything, but starting off primarily range bound on gold. And oil, definitely back and forth. They had a nice rally here in the overnight right up here to the attractor, then they backed off pretty good, and now they're stalling halfway down. So go figure. Oil is just kind of odd, I think. So no, I haven't tried to trade that thing. Not quite up to the keeping tabs on the cross currents, but we'll leave it there for now. So now we'll start off range bound on oil. If anything, I would start off with a bias to the downside, given the latter part of the day session. If they close above this area, oops, if they close above, come on. If they close above this area, the 6270s, I would be more inclined to start off from range bound, but start with a slight bias to the downside as long as they hold below that 6270s. So that's oil, slight bias to the downside, gold, that's range bound. And then back to the ES, and okay, so they stalled. The sell-off kind of stalled for a bit right here at value, so back to the mean. So we'll see. Getting into that last 25 minutes of the trading day, but I'm not going to be too aggressive about this right now. I'm just going to just leave it alone. So not a great super trading day. It kind of got high tick twice on the Nasdaq, kind of sucked, and got managed to get some of it back, but not all. So I'm gonna just leave it at that for the weekend, okay? And I will see you guys back bright and early on Monday, and we'll go at this all over again. All right, guys, you have a great weekend. Later.